In this video, I'm going to explain why walking is the absolute king for fat loss. So I'm going to go through the actual science behind it, the benefits of walking, and why it is the king of fat loss in today's industry. So if you guys don't know me by now, my name's Adam Bunnell. I'm an online fat loss professional. I specialize in hormonal priming, body recompositioning, and getting guys to the leanest body fat percentage they've ever been using metabolic priming. I've worked with dozens of guys in the past, and walking has been the most beneficial way to get my clients as lean as possible, right beside their actual nutrition. So, right off the bat, walking is a very low barrier to entry way of cardio, which means that you can do it through the day. The steps that you get going to the grocery store, the steps that you get walking to walk the dog or take the trash out, it's a very low barrier to entry form of cardio that you can even do on the road. You could do anywhere in general, just, stepping outside to go for a simple walk, right? So opposed to like going on a run where you have to get like sweaty, put some running shoes on, or even getting on a cardio machine where you have to do stair stepper or incline treadmill. Walking is very low barrier to entry, which means you can do it anywhere in any type of clothes, and it is very beneficial when it comes to actual fat loss sense, when the actual science of things. So the science of actual fat loss in general, when it comes to the terms of walking, is that walking actually burns 40% more fat than any other form of cardio, right? Walking being a zone 1 cardio, it utilizes the actual energy substrate of fat very well. So in any sense, when you get into the zones of cardio, and I did a full video on the zones of cardio, but zone 1 and zone 2 cardio are very low intensity cardio methods, right? So low intensity cardio utilizes more fat as a substrate of energy. And the higher that you get on the hierarchy chain of zones of cardio, the more actual carbohydrates that you start to use, right? So like with your strength building program, utilize more carbohydrates. HIIT training, utilize more carbohydrates. And even like, high intensity training in the form of Olympic athletes where you use more carbohydrates. But the lower the cardio is, the lower the intensity of the cardio, the more actual fat that your body uses as a substrate of energy. So the longer that you walk, not only the more fat you actually utilize for fuel, you actually save more carbs for your training, for muscle preservation, and also making sure that you're getting good carbohydrate amount for the decrease of inflammation and oxidative stress. So for instance, walking is also very good at decreasing lactate, right? Getting blood flow through your body, being able to decrease lactate in the form of active recovery, right? So that means it's very muscle sparing. One, if your body's burning more body fat in the form of a low intensity cardio and savoring more carbs, then yes, your body will be able to savor more muscle tissue, hold on to more muscle tissue, but obviously utilize fat as a substrate, which is very why low intensity cardio in the form of walking is very important when it comes to muscle preservation, right? So improving blood flow being one of the biggest reasons why it's really good for a sustainable approach to cardio that you can do. And when you talk about lactate and inflammation and oxidative stress, the higher the zones of cardio you get, yes, you burn more calories in general. Don't get me wrong. But the more lactate your body starts to produce, right? So walking at a low intensity cardio state for a longer period of time allows your body to utilize more fat as an energy substrate, savor more actual muscle tissue. And why you want to savor muscle tissue is that, first of all, muscle tissue is highly metabolic, right? Highly metabolic in the form of sense of it takes a lot of calories to preserve muscle tissue. So the actual science states, and they did scientific research based upon this, that it is more detrimental to your hormone levels to lose muscle tissue than it is to gain body fat. So think about that in the scientific sense. If muscle preservation is at most our peak interest, right? Preserving muscle tissue, losing muscle tissue lowers your metabolic rate, but also lowers your ability to absorb more food, putting you in a more metabolic purgatory when it comes to overall metabolism. So understanding that walking is going to help preserve muscle tissue, making sure that you're burning calories in the substrate of actually utilizing fat as a substrate of energy is extremely important to know when it comes in the terms of what type of cardio should you do for maximum amount of fat loss and a maximum amount of muscle gain, right? And why you want to maintain muscle preservation in general is that, yes, muscle tissue is very, very metabolic, right? It takes a lot of calories to sustain. So a lot of people in today's society think that they have a weight loss problem when they have a fat loss problem. So a lot of people will lose 15 to 20 pounds right off the bat, and 15 of it being muscle and 10 of it being actual body fat, which puts them into like a metabolic purgatory where their metabolism just starts to lower, and now they have less muscle tissue. Now you get caught in the gross skinny fat range, right? So it also doesn't really beat up your body too much. Like, walking doesn't beat up your body too much at all. It's very muscle sparing. It's very less harmful on your body in the form of a low intensity cardio that is non-inflammatory, so you can do it every day. So sustaining a good amount of steps per day will allow you to preserve muscle tissue, lower lactate levels, make sure you're not getting any sort of inflammation accrued on your body, but more specifically hyper-focused on the substrate of actual fat that you utilize as energy in the form of burning. So the last thing about steps in general is that it allows you to be exposed to other sorts of neurology that will be very beneficial for you as well, like sun exposure. Like, getting out and actually walking in sun exposure is very good for the neurochemistry. It's good for vitamin D, and it's very good for overall health, longevity, and hormonal purposes within the body when it does come to neurochemistry. So instead of doing a ton of cardio, doing hours of high intensity cardio, try switching to something that's lower, a little bit lower intense, a little bit lower in the form of barrier to entry, something you could do, every single day. And so you don't just push yourself to the limit doing a tons of cardio over the course of a couple weeks, get burnt out, your body starts to burn down, your joints start to hurt, and now you're back to where you started and you can't even do anymore. Instead, start with 8K steps. Start with 8K steps, tighten up your diet, go outside for a walk, and making sure that you're doing that consistently on a day-to-day basis. It will be number one key for your maximum amount of fat loss. So if you guys are struggling to get lean, I just made a full training on my entire metabolic priming profile. I have a free masterclass linked down below. It has over 180,000 views currently. So go check that out. Go like, comment, subscribe to my page. I am constantly dropping brand new higher level nutrition forms of information to my channel every single day to help you guys out on your own fitness journey as well. So like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.